Hello, lovely unlikely patrons and whomever else might see this video. Happy to see you today. And I can say I'm happy to see you because I'm wearing a button-down shirt and no pants. And that makes me happy. If you don't know, my name is Jonathan Pinton. I run a literary magazine called Unlikely Stories. It's at unlikelystories.org. And I've been running that for 20 years now. And we also publish books under the imprint Unlikely Books. So that's unlikelystories.org. This is part of a regular series of videos I do for people who patronize Unlikely Stories. If they donate $3 or more a month through the Patreon system, we give them access to this video log, which comes out more or less weekly. And every once in a while I release one of these videos out to the general public for whatever reason. And today I want to talk about the late Marthe Reed. Martha died last week of a unexpected brain hemorrhage, a sudden thing. I understand from her husband Michael that her family was around her, and that they all got to be with her. It was extremely unexpected. She was actually on her way here to New Orleans later this week, and had been looking forward to seeing her, as had a great number of other people. So yeah, we'll talk about how I got to know Martha. I moved from El Paso, Texas to Lafayette, Louisiana in 2011, February 2011. I was following a blizzard that swept through West Texas that year. I moved to Lafayette, and Martha was one of the first people I met. She was a professor at the University of University of Louisiana there in Lafayette, teaching creative writing. And we, when I came to town, she was kind enough to meet me for lunch to talk about the literary world and talk about the things about creative writing and poetry that interested us. And we hit it off instantly. I really enjoyed her company. A great number of people really enjoyed her company. Martha was an extremely likable woman, an extremely well-liked and well-loved woman, who had a huge impact on just a huge number of lives in the literary world. Like I say, I liked her immediately. One of the things that I noticed is that a lot of times when poets hang out with each other and say, hey, let's meet, we both live in the same world, let's meet, they don't read each other's poems. Martha had bothered to read my poetry, so that was wonderful and refreshing. I'd read hers because, I do that, but not many poets do. Martha did. Let's see. We hung out a few more times. We had a few lunches. We hung out at some art shows. She read for us a show we did there in Lafayette for 100,000 Poets for Change. That was in 2012, September 2012. That was a lot of fun. And we just got to know each other. We were in each other's circles and liked each other's company and hung out. In 2013, she collaborated with another poet by the name of J.J. Hastain on Pleth. Now, pleth is short for plethora. This is J.J. very heavily influenced the themes of this book. Pleth is short for plethora, which was a pronoun that J.J. was experimenting with. Plethora as pronoun, plethora as multiple identities, identity as pronoun, the need for pronouns that go beyond not only him and her, but also the traditional singular pronouns, ze, even the singular they, and any of the standard trans pronoun. J.J. wanted to explore a whole different thing, a pronoun that allows J.J. to be multiple identities. So the way they collaborated was J.J. would create one of these collages right here that J.J. called Poem Cells, and Martha would write a poem in response. And they were very kind enough to let us at Unlikely Books publish it. This was published in 2013. That's another work by J.J. On the front and on the back, we have a sculpture by Martha's husband, Michael. there underneath the blurbs. Excuse me. So that book was released at the And Now Festival in Boulder, Colorado, and we did a couple of shows in Denver. We did at a Denver cafe, and we have just a wonderful video of JJ and Martha collaborating. And I'm going to put the links to both those videos, the collaboration between JJ and Martha, and also Martha's reading at 100,000 Poets for Change. I'll put them in the description to this video so you can check those out. They're both very cool. So I'd like to read you a poem from Pleth. And when I showed you Pleth, I yanked the bookmark out of it for reasons that just baffle me now. So if you'll give me one moment, I'll find the poem that I'd like to read to you. Maybe I'll pause the video. Let's try that again. A poem from 2013's Pleth by J.J. Hastain, and Marthe Reed. We'll be reading a poem by Martha. By way of wayward, the sweet, implosive architectures, bone planet, abdominal, arch cogent this body emboldening itself. Luscious flesh this, lithesome want, hence leg, hence limb, hence trembling succulent web, succors the warm red hive, hinged being and becoming. So the next year, 2014, Martha put out a new book, Night's Reading, Burton's 1001, based on the common translation of 1001 Arabian Nights by Burton. It was put out by Lavender Ink, another press here in New Orleans. I moved from Lafayette, Louisiana here to New Orleans 2 years ago, 2016. And it's got a wonderful epigraph right here. Beautiful book. Yeah, lovely book. We know the story, told innumerable times, a woman negotiating with her death. And I'd like to read the poem out of here, Of the Second Girl. A girl, a widow, a surpassing beauty, variables in an equation of alliance. A golden proportion, everything depends on comparison. 7 gates or 7 planets. Obedient, she accedes to deceit. Love at first sight. Water flavored with sugar and rose. Strained wine. Incense glows on a brazier of desire's 10 divisions, 9 are hers. What he fears, a second deceit. A rogue bites her cheek, painting in darkness what she cannot see. How shall I determine it? Labyrinths, ladders, trampled spaces, naming the forms of obedience, language supplants love with itself. Ruby lips, wheels of her punishment, another golden mean. What her senses teach her, seen as having depth. Of the lover, neither moons, anemones, nor pearls. Not even the cedar, but a black mirror, a theory of color. Interned in his own absence, a silence impossible to narrate. Widow and oath. Bride, leaping sting of the quince branch. Where does her heart leap now? His hand marks her cheek. So yeah, that was Marthe Reed, and if you're not familiar with her work, I just wanted to introduce her to you. And if you are familiar with her work and familiar with what a great person she was, of course there's all kinds of stuff you can read by her. She published several books after these, and you can find her all over the internet. I want to clarify, it's Marthe Reed with an E, M-A-R-T-H-E, Reed, as opposed to M-A-R-T-H-A. Yeah, really wonderful poet in person, and I'm going to miss her a lot. And we're going to miss having her, whatever great new words she was going to write. That's it for this week. Next week, when we do our video blog, we'll be have returned from the New Orleans Poetry Festival, so we'll talk about our adventures there. Okay, thanks very much.